If you're going through therapy after a stroke, there's a question almost everyone asks at some point. Why am I doing the same things over and over? It can feel repetitive, sometimes boring, sometimes exhausting. And you may even wonder if it's actually helping. Today, I want to explain why therapy works after stroke, what it's really doing inside the brain, and why repetition isn't a flaw in the system. It's the reason recovery happens. Let's start by clearing something up. Therapy after stroke is not exercise in the traditional sense. It's not about building muscle. It's not about pushing harder, and it's not about forcing movement. Therapy is about retraining the brain. After a stroke, the muscles are usually still there. The joints still move. What's disrupted is the communication between the brain and the body, the signal pathway, the coordination network, the automatic control system. Therapy exists to rebuild that communication, and rebuilding doesn't happen in one session. It happens through repeated practice over time. Let me give you an example most people recognize. In The Karate Kid, the training looks pointless at first. Wax on, wax off, paint the fence, sand the floor. The student doesn't understand why he's doing it. It feels repetitive, even frustrating. He's not learning punches. He's not learning kicks. He's just doing the same movements day after day. But beneath the surface, something important is happening. Those repeated movements are building motor patterns. They're training the nervous system to respond automatically without conscious thought. And when it matters most, those movements show up on their own. Those movements became patterns. Those patterns became habits. And those habits became skill. That's how the brain learns. And that's exactly how therapy works after stroke. You're not always going to see progress while you're in the middle of it. But every repetition is strengthening the signal. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, something is. The brain is listening, and it's learning. Here's an example almost all of us share. Learning to ride a bike. As children, we don't train muscles. We don't study balance or analyze physics. We get on the bike, we wobble, we fall, we try again. Sometimes we wonder, will I ever get this? And then one day, it happens. You're riding, balanced. Sometimes even taking your hands off the handlebars. You're not consciously controlling thousands of adjustments. Your body is doing it automatically, shifting weight, correcting angle, adjusting speed, responding to the ground beneath you. That's neuroplasticity. It didn't happen overnight. But repetition was shaping the network the entire time. Even when it felt like nothing was changing, your brain was forming connections, strengthening pathways, and building coordination. Stroke recovery follows the same process. The difference is this: you're not starting from zero. You're reconnecting to something your brain already knows. This is something I always emphasize with patients. After a stroke, you are not learning brand new skills. You are relearning what is already natural to you. Walking, reaching, balancing, using your hand. Those networks already exist in your brain. The pathways are there. The memory is there. Therapy helps the brain find them again. The destination hasn't moved, but the route needs rebuilding. And here's something important. It's not the intensity of effort that matters most. It's the repeated movement pattern. Correct patterns, repeated consistently, are what rebuild coordination. That's why therapy focuses on doing the same movements over and over. Not because you're stuck, but because that's how the brain reconnects. When people hear the word therapy, they often think of one thing. In reality, stroke rehabilitation includes several disciplines. Physical therapy focuses on walking, balance, posture, transfers, and endurance. It's about getting your body through space safely and efficiently. Occupational therapy focuses on arm and hand use, daily activities, vision, perception, and thinking during real-world tasks. It's about doing the things that matter in everyday life. Speech therapy focuses on communication, swallowing, attention, memory, and cognitive processing. It's not just about talking, it's about how the brain processes and responds. These are not separate goals. They are different entry points into the same brain network. Each discipline is working on the same fundamental process, reconnecting signal, rebuilding coordination, and restoring function. Across modern stroke rehabilitation guidelines, 3 principles show up again and again. First, repetition. The brain changes by firing signals repeatedly. 1 attempt doesn't create a pathway. 10 attempts begin to. 100 attempts strengthen it. Second, task-specific practice. You get better at what you practice. If you want to improve walking, you practice walking. If you want to improve reaching, you practice reaching. After stroke, the brain needs clearer, more specific practice than it used to. Third, active effort and attention. Passive movement alone does not drive learning. The brain needs to be engaged, trying, paying attention. These aren't theories, they're principles backed by decades of neuroscience and rehabilitation research. You may hear names for different therapy approaches: BOBATH, NDT, PNF, motor relearning, constraint-induced therapy. Here's what matters. Guidelines do not show that one named method is universally superior. What matters is whether therapy includes the right ingredients: repetition, task-specific practice, active engagement. Methods are vehicles. The engine is repetition. Focus less on the name of the method. Focus more on whether you're getting enough practice with the right level of challenge and attention. Many of you asked about manual therapy. Manual therapy refers to hands-on techniques used by therapists. Its purpose is not to rewire the brain by itself. Its role is to reduce barriers: pain, stiffness, restricted motion, excess tone. Think of manual therapy as preparation. If your shoulder is stiff and painful, reaching practice won't be effective. If your leg is locked in extension, stepping practice won't be smooth. Manual therapy clears the path. It reduces interference. It creates the conditions for movement. But it doesn't replace practice. It supports practice. You may hear terms like soft tissue mobilization, which is hands-on work to improve comfort and movement in muscles and connective tissue. Joint mobilization uses graded movements to help joints move more freely and with less pain. Then PNF, or proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, is where movement patterns and sensory input used to support activation and coordination. These techniques help the nervous system get ready to practice. They reduce pain, they improve range, they make movement more accessible, but they don't build skill on their own. Manual therapy opens the door, repetition walks through it. You may also encounter modalities: electrical stimulation, mirror therapy, vibration, heat or cold, virtual reality, biofeedback. These tools can increase awareness, improve attention, and help initiate movement. They can make practice more engaging. But here's the key idea. Modalities are accessories. They can open a window, they can support practice, but they do not replace repetition. Think of modalities like training wheels on a bike. They help you get started. They provide support while you're learning. But they're not the ride itself. Practice is what drives recovery. Here's something you and your caregivers can actually use. When you approach therapy, think in these terms. What skill are we training? How many repetitions are we getting? What's the main barrier right now? Pain, stiffness, coordination, endurance, or attention? What can I safely practice between sessions? This turns therapy into collaboration, not confusion. You become an active participant in the process, and that mindset matters because the brain learns better when it's engaged. Here's a key takeaway you can actually use. Track practice and skill, not just strength. Pick one functional task. Standing up from a chair, reaching for a cup, taking 10 steps. Track one quality marker. Less assistance, smoother movement, better timing, less fatigue. What you pay attention to is what your brain reinforces, and what the brain reinforces is what improves. Small changes matter because small improvements compound over time. Therapy works after stroke because it follows how the brain learns. Repetition builds signal. Practice builds skill. Time and consistency allow change to emerge. The wax-on, wax-off movements that feel repetitive today are building the automatic responses you'll rely on tomorrow. The wobbling on the bike that feels uncertain now is forming the balance you'll trust later. Recovery doesn't happen all at once, but it does happen. Many of you have asked about what comes next, about emerging technologies, brain-computer interfaces, and whether they truly help recovery. In the next episode, we'll explore what the science actually shows, what's promising, and how these tools fit into real-world stroke rehabilitation. Understanding the why changes how you experience the process. I'm Dr. Moving Better. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.